Hey, welcome to TokuTalkers. Today we're talking GoZyuger episode 10, Go Go Showa. No, it's 3 goes. Go,
Mhm.
go, go. Showa has arrived. I'm one of your hosts, Buster. With me is my co-host, Wyatt. And I
Yeah.
thought this was a really good episode of GoZyuger.
Yeah, just starting right off. I agree. I think that this is one of the best episodes we've gotten so far. It's been on a pretty good tear recently. Like the two-parter was pretty good that we just did, and then the episode right before that was really good.
Yeah.
So this one I feel like maintains that. It's also another episode where like Sumino is paired up with one of the boys, and it's like
Yeah.
really good. Like it's just like she kind of brings out the best in the others, which is good. Maybe she's not as good as uh Oni sister from Don Brothers, like overall,
There,
like yet, but we'll get there.
record
Yeah,
time,
Don Brother.
everybody.
Look, it's
Record
Don
time,
Brothers
everybody.
too, guys. This is what the
Yeah,
show is.
it
But
is.
but yeah, like that's first impressions just going into it. We'll talk more about, of course, about our like finer details of the episode. But yes, I was very pleased with this.
Yeah, this is like I always love. I think I'm like realizing I like GoZuger's one-offs more than the story. The main story,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
isn't like the. It is good. It is good. I just think the one-off stuff is like super like fascinating. Just when you just get to spend time with a character at a competition and like you just get to
Mhm.
hone in on like the opponent, whether it be a universe warrior or a number one, no one.
Mhm.
Uh, and this no one, it reminded me of a Zenkaiger episode.
Mhm.
Do you know that one Zenkaiger episode where like that one monster or like world I think they're called in that show turns like
Mhm.
everything
Mhm.
old timey and the
Yeah.
Kikinoids are like, hey, we hate this. We were oppressed in the olden times. We like it
Yeah.
better now. It wasn't quite that message, but it's still like a very like much you can have the old and the new, but the new you need to move forward. And I quite
Yeah.
like the messaging here, especially like Kijino like so like they kind of like scold the monster of like, hey, you see all this stuff you're doing? You can still do that in the modern times.
Yeah. That like so as Toku fans, we have watched a lot of stuff from the Showa era. In fact, like we probably only know or care about the different eras of Japan purely through our fandom of
Yeah.
Tokusatsu. I know for me, like I only learned like Showa, Heisei, stuff like that through being a Godzilla fan first,
Yeah.
and then afterwards, like being like, oh, these are like Showa Kamen Rider, Heisei Kamen Rider, Showa Sentai. Sentai, it's a little bit more nebulous just because there was no significant break at any point
Yeah. You
in
just keep
Sentai's
going.
history. Yeah. Whereas and it's very similar with like Heisei and Reiwa, Kamen Rider, where people try to make like a clear distinction, and it's like, oh no, like some of the Reiwa shows are like pretty close to what we were already getting at like the late Heisei era. Um, but uh, I did want to ask, like, what is your experience? I know you've been watching a lot of Sentai
Yeah.
from the Showa
Showa
era. Like,
Sentai, yeah.
what is your experience with like some of those shows? Do you have like a favorite from that
Yeah.
era?
I mean, actually, they mentioned like not a Sentai, but they mentioned one of my favorite Showa tokus in this
Mm,
episode.
Kaiketsu
It
Tsuba.
was Zubat. That's legitimately one of my favorite Showa tokus because my thing about Showa toku is that like a lot of people don't really like the episodic things. I quite enjoy like it has to be done right, and I think
Mhm.
Zubat is that perfect balance of like it's not there's not really any serialization to Zubat. It's just
Yeah.
every episode is so funny or so entertaining that it's
Mhm.
like this is like I can like because like when I was watching Zubat, I binged it, but like I usually binge most of my Tokyo. That's kind of it makes me burnt out at some points when I like binge like
Sure.
5 shows at once, or
Mhm.
and like yeah, that's kind of a problem I have. But like each just the entertainment value of Zubat was so high for me that like I don't know, like because I know like people like I don't know we've talked about episodic versus serialization before and on the show, but like it just like I mean this episode is about Showa and it's an one-off episode, so I guess it does fit
Mhm.
here. But yeah, I guess like
Yeah.
my favorite like Showa Sentai I've seen so far is either Denji Man or Bioman.
Yeah.
To
Bioman, I
be
know, is kind of a fan favorite.
yeah,
Um.
Bioman's really solid. Denji Man, I really enjoy for one character in specific, like the Kenji Oba character,
Mhm.
Denji Blue. He's just really
Yeah.
good. They literally just give him like 5 episodes near the end in a row because he's so
Mhm.
good.
For me, it's like I did like what I've seen of Change Man. and
I just
Masked
finished that
Man.
one.
And then, but I feel like the first one that really like blew me away, and I guess it's kind of cheating. I'm not sure if it like fully counts as a show us show because it was right on the border, but Live Man
No, it counts.
is,
It counts.
yeah. And like that I feel like is like one of those, it's very similar to Jetman, you know, where it's like, oh, you watch it and it's like, oh, it's as good as
Like a
everybody
Heisei or
said it was.
Rewa.
Yeah. Yeah, you just watch it and it's very like there are weaker elements to it. I know people talk about like when black and green show up, it gets a little bit weaker. It kind of like runs its course, but the actual ending arc of that show is so good that I feel like it saves it by the
Yeah.
end.
Live Man was the one I've always like, when I was like looking through all the Sentais initially. That's the one that like stood out to me the most. So
Mhm.
you know, maybe there is
Yeah,
something there. Like I'm very
villains are really
excited to
good in
get
that
there.
show.
I'm like next up is Flash Man, I think. So like I'm getting
Mhm.
closer to Live Man.
But Flashman, I've only seen a little bit of, but it seems pretty cool because all the people are from like different planets and stuff. Has
Oh
like a little bit of a sci-fi fantasy angle to that, and I always like that in
yeah.
Sentai. But anyway,
Yeah, back to
so
the big
back to the
show.
real meat of it. I just wanted to bring up the fact that I agree with you. Like, I think that the plot being, oh, you know, the Green Ranger, he's an old man in a young person's body, and you know, so he's like he grew up in the Showa era, and he's nostalgic for all those times and everything, even though he wants to be like hip modern
Yeah.
guy. And then he ends up being like kind of torn between the two eras. And Sumino is in the position of being like, oh, whatever, who cares about the old? Like, just throw it out.
Yeah.
And then kind of sees that there is something beautiful about the Showa era, and it's the fact that there was like this sense of like the future is limitless at that point. And I think that that's very important because, you know, Showa era came right after the Taisho period, which is what during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Japan did a lot of bad things in World War II and sort of had to like uh find the light, so to speak. So that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like the Showa era's whole ideology was getting out of that darkness of the Pacific War and trying to find like the light of the future. And they went through a lot of struggles. You know, they're if you've learned anything about the history of Japan through Godzilla movies, like I have, like like the production of them, not just like the actual movies. You know that like the 50s, it was an extremely poor country. You
Yeah.
know, like very little money. So like Suitmation was really like that. Truly was like the cream of the crop. Like we spent a ton of money to make stuff like Godzilla. Um, and just up until like the late 70s with the economic boom that happened, and then you know that's when you get the rise of OVAs and the rise of video games and like all these things that we consider like essential to Japanese pop culture came out of that, you know, the like end of the Showa era. Um, and it's just very interesting like talking about that from that angle, and I think it was like really cool that you know there was a lot of like fun references to 80s and like 70s stuff. I actually do find that in Japan they tend to be a lot more nostalgic about the 70s than the 80s, which is like what America tends to be like way more
Yeah,
nostalgic
well, like
about.
from what I heard, like '70s is like golden age for like a lot of Japanese pop culture icons.
Yes.
Like,
Like so whenever people talk about like if you've seen that Shin-chan movie with that's like the Millennium Parade or whatever
I've
where
only seen I think
all
one Shin-chan thing. Or,
yeah,
no, no,
but the
I'm thinking of Aquaman. I'm thinking of Aquaman.
that had a movie. It was like the ninth movie or whatever. It's like a very famous movie because it's about like all the parents being hypnotized back to their childhoods, and about like
Ah,
that Showa era nostalgia. And you know, it's very emotional. There's like a very emotional scene where Shin Chan to like wake his father up, like makes him smell his like sweaty work shoes. So he has like the memory of his entire life as like a child, and then growing up, meeting his wife, having the children, coming home from work, you know, seeing these kids and realizing that like there's a beauty in life moving on from the childhood. Like the childhood is good to look back on, but it's only good in the context of a full life that came after it. And I know this is kind of deep that we're going into, but this episode inspired a lot of these thoughts in me. I was like thinking, like, I really liked it because, like, yeah, a lot of Japanese stuff has these, like, kind of navel gazing about the 70s and the 80s, but it also tends to, like, firmly plant its foot in the sense that it's like, all right, progress, we can leave a lot of good behind with it, but there's a lot of greatness that does come. And I think to me, when they're fighting the monster and he talks about like you can enjoy the Showa era even better in the Reiwa era, like you can enjoy those things in this modern setting and you can have an even better experience with it than you could have had then, because getting set in your ways and that like toxic nostalgia was not what that era was about. It was about progress. And I think about that whenever I'm like, oh, I play the PS2, but I do it on my 4K TV and I do it with like the Retro Tink upscaler and all this other stuff. Like, I'm not playing it on like the tube TV in my bedroom as a 10-year-old. You know, I'm doing it as a 30-year-old and I'm doing it, you know, like with all of this modern tech. I'm sorry, I've been yapping a lot.
No. I completely agree. Like it's. Like, especially for an anniversary season, I think this is a very important message to have. Especially for an anniversary season, some might see as, oh, why are like they fighting the old things? It's like, well, we gotta fight the old to make progress in the new. You know, like it's pretty simple. Like you don't want to be like, oh, like hold these older things. They have the Daizujin. They fight Daizujin in this episode, like the black and gold repaint of Daizujin, which is like the first time it's actually appeared on screen in a thing, even though it's been a toy forever. Like that's pretty cool. But like, it was really like, you know, that kind of like, especially for like, I don't know if they were like specifically targeting Power Rangers there. Like, I think it was just like, oh, we just want to like sell the repainted toy. Let's just do it. Let's just finally make it canon in the show. But like the fact that this episode about like toxic nostalgia ends with them beating Daizujin.
It's pretty interesting. It's a very nice coincidence.
It's probably just a coincidence. It's just probably just a coincidence. It's just, but hey, you know, like it invoked those feelings. Like it's very much an episode. I feel it's just a great one-off episode too. It's just like it's still like connected to the overall GoZyuger thing, but I feel like if you just have to show like somewhat like a random episode, this is like a fine episode to pick. Just like see like this is like the average GoZyuger bit. They're just like and I'm also glad that they like, you know, we've talked about them possibly doing like some weird shit with Kijino. I'm glad they're sticking to their like just sticking to like, no, he's just a solo guy. He just wants to party. He's not like into romance. At least right now. I probably will regret saying that later. But
sure, I don't think that I really don't think that they're gonna do any like
especially like they established the dead wife thing, so that would be weird.
But yeah.
Just great episode. Also, just like speaking of Daizujin, they free Universe Warrior Zhu Red, who's just like, I'm done. He just finishes. And just generally good episode. Like evoked a like really good like thematically and both on like, you know, fan service. We get to see like some other toy token. We got the Zubat mention.
Like literally watching. Like there's a clip of Zubat, and I was like, and he's like, "Yeah, Zubat's awesome." I'm like, "Yeah,
same." No, I got like my friend was telling like I like to look at some spoilers before I watch the episode, just because like well everyone's already talking about it, even though the subtitles aren't out yet when they posting about it. So like sometimes my friends will just be like they'll post spoiler messages in the Discord, and I'll just be like, okay, let me unspoil this. It's like what when did Zubat show up? What? I mean, and then I realized that the premise of the episode is about the Showa era. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But like, in general,
I'm excited to see Gao Ranger or Gao Red specifically.
Yeah, we had a couple new Universe Warriors.
I'm a big Gao Ranger fan.
Next episode, we're getting like the Zhuo Eagle one and the Sun Vulcan one. Well, like, granted, I don't think they're gonna appear for very long, but like that's still pretty cool. And also another Rikio focus episode. I'm excited. because he's the best
Yes,
character.
he's the best so far. I still do want the Yellow Ranger to have like a good focus episode. So far he hasn't really gotten one, but I did like his role in like this. Like I don't know, like I like him slowly moving away from being like kind of a I'm here just out of convenience, like I'm teaming up with you, and he's kind of like off on his own and a little bit maybe not solo but more standoffish from everybody else because he's kind of just devoted to his goal singularly above everything else of like honoring the Tegasword. But like him actually confiding in Hoeru is like, all right, that's cool. I like that it's like a small B plot in the episode, but it's just nice to see them like
he's
talking.
slowly been like he's more of a background thing. But I do hope he does get like a full on. This is your episode. This is your episode to go nuts with, and just like explore your character.
Which
because
go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, I was gonna say like, which reminds me of Kichino from Dawn Brothers, who is at first you're like, okay, who is this guy? Whatever, he's a wife guy. But then as the show goes on, and I won't spoil this if you haven't seen Dawn Brothers, but he's way more entangled with the plot than it is ever apparent at first.
Yeah, so maybe it's something like that, especially because he's devoted to one of the main like MacGuffins of the show. So
yeah, but yeah, I think that's all I had to say about this episode. Really good.
Thumbs up. Do you want to plug your stuff, Wyatt?
Absolutely. So if you want to follow me on social media, go to WazPRanger, WAZP Ranger, Twitter and Bluesky. Mostly stream of consciousness stuff, but I do sometimes post about podcasts I'm in or videos I've made. I've been making videos more recently, which has been a nice change of pace because I kind of stopped doing that for like a year. And now I'm back on the swing of it. Actually, video I did on the Disney show Primos was so successful that I got approved for AdSense and
finally
stuff like that on YouTube. So for the first time, in like 6 years. So that's nice. And if you want to check out my Patreon, it's only magic, just like my YouTube channel. Go there, $3. You get Cartoon Buffoons, my main podcast, a week early. If you only got $1, you can check out Wow Cool Robot, me and my friend Wayne reviewing every single robot in existence. It's a good time. We do that's Tuesday and Thursday, just $1. And you also get videos early at just $1. So big thumbs up. Check that out.
Yeah, and I'm Buster. You can find my channel at the Buster Corp channel. I just do whatever I feel like at that week. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. My newest video bombed, but who cares?
Yeah,
but it happens. So yeah, just check that out. Also, just check out this channel, the Modular Media channel, where we do all sorts of podcasts. You can get TokuTalkers every week or so. Like not at a specific time. There's no specific time, but just whenever I get it out. Because usually I just get it out as soon as we're done recording this. The little peek behind the curtain. But you can also check out the other podcast I'm part of, like Analytical Fanboys is this week, which is our monthly media club where I talk. Where Cody this month picked Midnight Gospel, so you can hear a very in-depth, not in-depth, but like very emotional conversation about that show because it invoked a lot of feelings in us. And then every week we do a modular components, which is just we talk about our week or whatever's going on, just things we've been playing or doing. So yeah. Wyatt's not part of any of them. Occasionally he is, but I'm a part of them.
Invite me on if you so choose.
Yeah, I really should. But yeah, so that's gonna do it for this Toku Talkers. We'll see you next week for GoZyuger episode 11.